and welcome to Straight to the King. We're a new YouTube channel that's dedicated to all things poker. We'll be looking at everything from your local games all the way through to the big high roller events that attract the big names. We're starting off with just a weekly show, but we will be looking to add more to the schedule as soon as we can. Now we're going to start off by just looking at what we've got for you today. This opening to show is all about the real world of poker, where the cards are real, the chips are real, and the players can look straight into each other's eyes. Obviously we're going to be limited by what's available in the poker tours of the week, but this week we're mainly going to focus on the PCA. This year's PCA started off with a super high roller. It's a $100,000 buy-in and attracted the creme de la creme of the poker world. The event had unlimited rebuys the first day, and we saw 56 entries from 45 different players. We saw Guy La Liberté buy in several times, but he didn't make it beyond day 2. The same happened for Dan Negreanu, who followed on from a great 2013 by entering a super high roller 3 times and still didn't make it out of day 2. He was soon off enjoying the wonders of the Atlantis resort. Self-proclaimed best player in the world, Ryan Reese, also made an appearance on the super high roller. It was his first mega buy-in, and he didn't get out of day 1. Still attracted a lot of interest in the media though. As was usual for super high rollers, the action didn't really get serious until day 2. But when it did, it got crazy. When we got down to the bubble with just 9 players left, we started seeing some rather strange stuff. After several short stack double ups and a lot more hands than we were expecting to see, the situation became really bizarre. British businessman Paul Newey and high stakes reg Mike Timex McDonald were both down to less than a big blind. Timex had Newey covered and shoved after Brit had announced all in front of him. McDonald did take a long time to think about his options, and some would say maybe a little bit too long. Matt Glantz, however, made the call behind and put both players at risk, and it played out that Timex had a big sweat while he was actually drawing dead in the hand. Newey ended up also losing the hand and was eliminated in 9th place for no return. Timex cashed in 8th place for about $217,000, but he still would not be returning for the final day. The final table started with several players under 10 big blinds, and it didn't take long to start losing them. 5 hands into the day, we lost 3 players, and then we lost Antonio Esfondiari, which left the table with just Dan Shack, Vanessa Selps and Fabian Quas. Shack did suggest a deal, but that was very quickly nixed by both Quas and Selps. Selps had been running well up until 3-handed, but after this, Quas always looked like he had an edge over Shack, and it was him that raised the trophy and the cheque for over $1.6 million. You can catch up with all the action from the Super High Roller over at the PokerStars YouTube channel, and the link is in the description. The main event of the 2014 PCA almost didn't make its guarantee. It was adversely affected by the polar vortex over Canada and the US at the moment. This meant a lot of the players trying to get to the Bahamas had a lot of travel difficulties. However, in the end, it was just beaten, and the overlay was removed when 1,031 players stumped up the $10,300 entry fee, with about a dozen players buying into the beginning of day 2. The event paid 153 players, and the bubble was burst when 2 players were eliminated at the same time during hand-for-hand play. Play will continue today, Sunday, just 20 players remaining, and the action will continue tonight until just the final table of 8 is left. Madis Muir is the chip leader going for the start of the day, with Mike Timex McDonald just behind him. A lot of entertainment in the past day has been provided by Roger Teska. He served an orbit penalty at the beginning of day 4 for his antics in the final hours of the previous day. He'd been keeping the cocktail waitresses very busy and was apparently penalised for abusing the camera crew and messing with the pot. Teska also kept the waitresses very busy on day 4, but he also kept his fellow players on their toes as well. He was playing roughly 65% of his hands when he was at the second feature table. Now Teska is still in the main event despite leaving before the end of play last night, and he could well provide more entertainment during the remainder of the tournament. Timex is the only remaining EPT winner in the field, as he won EPT Prague back in 2007. He could shatter a dream to the PokerStars media and PR team if he's the first double EPT winner, as they've been very public about wanting to have 100 unique winners before that happens. Others to keep your eye on are EPT Prague final tableist Max Silva, who's sitting 5th on the leaderboard at the moment, but if I'm honest, any player still in this event can make the final table at this point. You can keep up to date with the action on the live stream through both the PokerStars YouTube channel and PokerStars.tv. I will be on providing my usual insights, if you can call them that, through the PokerStars hashtag EPT Live. This is the part of the show that we concentrate on the online action, the bits happening on the virtual film. Now it's going to include high stakes action as well as tournaments, but this week it's a little bit shorter than usual due to the fact that we've had everyone out in the PCA. Most weeks I have a little bit more analysis and a few more hands to talk over. We'll start off with talking about the high stakes cash games. Victor Blom hasn't been having the best start to 2014 and is already down nearly 600k. He's been mainly playing Deuce 7 triple door, and the usual suspects have all got a piece of his action. This week he hasn't been putting in massive volumes, probably due to the fact a lot of the players are out in the Bahamas, and I'm not sure if Victor has had to join him to satisfy the terms of his full tilt contract. Either way, I'm sure Victor will be playing a lot more in the coming weeks, and we'll keep an eye on his results for you. Gus Hansen, on the other hand, has been playing online pretty much constantly this year. He's already the biggest loser, but that pales in comparison to what he lost in 2013, which was over $8.5 million. Gus last year lost double the next player in the rankings, and some people have been questioning if that was the end of his career. Now, he's already down $500,000 in 2014, with over 350k being lost just in one day. Now, Gus Hansen is a skilled player. I've actually talked to him about this, and his game selection and work ethic may be at the root of his lack of success. I hope he finds his way to change this and starts to turn around his fortunes. He really is a nice guy, and I'd like to see him start winning again. In other action this week, Bryn Kenny had a nice win. He shook off his elimination from the super high roller at the PCA and ended up winning $188,000 at Deuce 7 triple door. He's still up about $150,000 for the year, and we wish him luck going forward. Over 53,000 players stumped up $11 to play the Sunday Storm this week. Now, all came down to the final table as usual, and we saw Sampras 1 coming as a big stack and M3009 as a shorty. You can see some of the bust outs on the screen where we've got the hand histories, and when they got down to 3, the remaining trio of players decided to chop up the prize pool. They then played for the title as usual. Canadian Davidowski was the one to emerge victorious, and he pocketed a very nice payday of $36,500. As usual, Sunday Storm is available this week, and you can get in there by playing satellites or just paying the full $11 up front. Sunday Storm is available every week, and it's just an $11 buy-in, but if that's too much for you, there are satellites available as well. The Sunday Million last week saw 8,666 players pay the $215 entry fee. Now it ended up with the prize pool being nearly double the guarantee at $1.7 million. Again, you can see we've got some of the bust out hands zooming across your screen, and the guy with all the chips going into the event, or into the final table anyway, was Troop 1. The short stack was Fotis, and again we had another deal here. The final trio decided to hack up the prize pool, and they got down to playing for the title afterwards. David Tutman has all the usual cards up replay of the million over on the PokerStars YouTube channel, and again the link for that is in the description. In the end, Troop 1 from Germany was the last man standing, and it took him a smidge over $234,000 for his hard work. In this part of the show, we're going to talk about what's going on in the whole industry. Now that's going to include things like what you guys are talking about on the forums, what's happening in companies, what legal ramifications, and what's happening in regulation around the world. Gus Hansen started a bit of a controversy this week. He made some comments to fellow high-stakes regular SallyWoo. Now he accused him of using a software program to beat him at Fixed Limit Omaha on full tilt. The conversation, of highlights of which are actually on the screen right now, started when Gus disconnected and asked for his 4K big blind back. Sally refused, quoting what he said was an outstanding agreement between the two that said he didn't actually need to do so. Gus stopped short of accusing SallyWoo of cheating, but continued to state that Sally was using software in order to beat him. Tracking software such as Poker Tracker and Hold'em Manager are perfectly legit to use on full tilt, and most other poker sites for that matter. We don't give any extra information, but we display numbers and a heads-up display, or HUD, representing the action the player has observed. It generally allows players to play more tables, as mere humans can't keep the action history straight over 24 tables at the same time. It's probably something like this as SallyWoo is using, and if Gus isn't using this technology, he's missing out on a great way to analyse his own game and find the leaks that cost him over $8 million in 2013. Regardless of which, Gus has said he's not going to be playing Sally again in the future, which is going to cost Sally quite a lot of money, it looks like. Poker is going back to court in the US once again. Oklahoma tribes, the Cheyenne and the Arapaho, are suing the US government over an edict issued by the US Department of the Interior. This edict stopped the tribes from offering online poker games for an international client base. Now, this had been previously agreed with the local state legislature in the Gaming Compact. The tribes were expecting to make about $132 million a year from this, and the state would also receive significant financing from it. We'll keep an eye on this lawsuit as it progresses, but to be honest, I doubt it's actually going to get all the way to court. The face of PokerStars, Negreanu, has been awarded the Poker Player of the Decade by the Global Poker Index. Negreanu has nearly 20 million in tournament wins and won his first WSOP title back in 1998. He's just come off a fantastic year. He won the Bluff, Card Player and the World Series of Poker Players of the Year titles, along with 2 new WSOP bracelets and a string of cashes, including his best EPT result to date. Negreanu remains outspoken and he's also a great ambassador for the game. We'll have to see how he does in the next 10 years. The World Poker Tour has announced a new partner in Monster, the high-end audio manufacturer. Monster created the Beats line with Dr. Dre, and they are one of the biggest high-end providers out there in the world. The 3-year deal will see every player making it to a televised WPT table, getting a pair of high-end headphones, and in return, WPT will include a Monster in a slew of marketing and advertising opportunities. There'll be a new tournament in the Monster Invitational. This will see 6 specially invited players take part in a charity tournament. This will also be filmed and broadcast as part of a WPT season in 2014. Since its launch in November, the New Jersey regulated market has seen over 150,000 setups of new accounts. Now this far outstrips the Nevada setup, but then again the population is much bigger in New Jersey. The big players in the market are currently the Party Poker Borgata setup and also the WSOP and 888 brands, both of which are licensed by Caesars. The Party Poker client, which shares players with a Borgata branded service, has the biggest share of the market currently, followed by the separate 888 and WSOP clients. Tournaments do run at peak times on all 3 clients, and cash games seem to run on everything available, although we're not sure about what games are available on the cash side, as unfortunately my contacts don't play cash. Now, in regards to this, PokerStars have issued a statement via their corporate blog that they still want to work in New Jersey. The blog was written by Eric Holreiser. He's the head of corporate communications, and the whole blog has been seen by many industries as a combination of a swipe at a greedy Atlantic club management system and also a message for New Jersey regulators that PokerStars can bring jobs, money and expertise into this marketplace. In a first for the US, Party Poker has become the first gambling-based company to sponsor sports teams. The New Jersey Devils hockey team and the Philadelphia 76 NBA team have both been sponsored by the brand. Now they join other such major companies as Real Madrid, Bayern Munich and Manchester United, all of which have had deals of one sort or another with the poker brand. Looks like quite an interesting setup. We'll have to see how this progresses going forward. This final part of the show is all about telling you what the online sites are offering you to come and join their business. Some of it's going to be about previous promotions and who's won what, and some of it's going to be about what they're offering you right now to put X dollars in your pocket. This week saw the culmination of the Full Tilt Heads Up promotion Beat the Pro. Now, it involved a chance to play either Gus Hansen or Victor Blom heads up for up to a total of $50,000. Beat the Pro players involved were Chris Munich and Coles 4038 against Izzy, and Ericsson and Bender 118 against Gus. The players had to win 3 running heads-up sit-and-goes to claim the full $50,000. Winning one sit-and-go would give the player $5k, winning the second sit-and-go would give another $15k, and the players would then have a choice to risk the $15,000 from the second win to play for the big $50,000 prize pool. In the end, only Chris and Bender won their first round matches, and then they both lost in the second round to the respective Full Tilt professionals. They both took home $5,000. Full Tilt is also our second story in this section. They've launched a brand new Rush Poker variant called Adrenaline Rush. This is a 4-handed game where the betting is capped at 10 big blinds and where all the betting happens before the players see the flop. it does seem to be another attempt by Full Tilt to try and differentiate themselves from a crowded marketplace. The Adrenaline Rush format seems to reduce the skill gap, and with all the action taking place pre-flop, the opportunity to profit seems pretty slim. On the other hand, this could be pretty fun, and with volume not going to be an issue, those who are looking for a quick session for fun could very well find this game for them. We'll have to wait to see how popular this format is, but it's likely going to appeal to the recreational player looking for a quick session of praying to the gods of luck and variance. PokerStars has started 2014 by giving away over $500,000 to players through their daily challenge promotion. You need to opt into the promo, and a link in your information is in the description below. Challenges aren't particularly challenging in truth. Today's challenge is to play in the $11 Sunday Storm, which to be honest isn't that difficult. What you get for completing this challenge is a ticket to a daily all-in shootout, where everyone is in all-in, every hand, automatically. These daily free rolls have a 15k prize pool, and if you manage to get 10 tickets, you also get a seat in a 100k version for your trouble. The quarterly mini F-Top series has started already on Full Tilt Poker. This is a more affordable version of the now famous F-Tops brand, and it's going to have a guaranteed combined prize pool worth of $3 million. We've had a look at the schedule, and I think we've highlighted the most interesting events still to come. The obvious one to keep an eye on is the main event on the 19th, but the schedule is crammed full of action for players, including an interesting 2-day event on the 18th with a 400k guarantee. It's $215 to buy in, and satellites are available for all these events on Full Tilt right now for those being responsible with your bankrolls. PokerStars, not wanting to be outdone by their sister site, has announced the T-Coup, the Turbo Championship of Online Poker. Now this is a yearly event, and this is the third year it's run. The action kicks off on the 23rd of January, and the combined prize pool is going to be at least $15 million. The buy-ins to events range from $11 or go all the way up to $2,100 for the high roller. The main event's going on the 2nd of February, and it's only going to cost you $700 to play for a share of the $2 million guarantee that's obviously going to be beaten. Other events of note include the Big Ante's Double Chance on the 24th and the Super Knockout Shootout on the 29th. As always with turbos, the time requirement is significantly less, and it wouldn't surprise me to see some events get into the money inside 2 hours. As usual with PokerStars series, there are oodles of satellites available on the client. The PokerStars sponsored tours, the LAPT and the APPT, have announced their dates for 2014. The LAPT is starting in March and starting in Chile. It also has stops in Brazil, Panama, Peru and Uruguay. Now, at least another stop to be announced yet, but we won't know what that's going to be until PokerStars let us know. The tour has been running since 2008, and previous winners include Castle Gill and Jose Barbero. Last year's Player of the Year was Amos Ben Han. Satellites and Chili Stop are already available on PokerStars, and they start with as little as 33 cents if you can work your way up through the levels. The Asia Pacific Poker Tour starts later this month in Macau, with the 20th Macau Poker Cup. The big news is that Aussie Millions has been added into this mix, and this staple of the poker calendar was previously a standalone event and has been running at the Crown Casino in Melbourne since 1998. It's previously run by Gus Hansen, and there's been several other big events happening there. Macau does have several stops on this tour, which to be honest is reasonable, and it's now undoubtedly the biggest market for poker and outstrips the action in Vegas by several more orders of magnitude. The ridiculous cash games that run in Macau attracted players such as Tom Dwan, John Duanda and Gus Hansen, and there have been many other high rollers going there to take the money. The tour is due to finish in New Zealand in November, and that's with the Auckland leg of the tour. Well, that's it for our first show. Thank you very much for watching, and if you've enjoyed the show, please click like, and if you want to watch more, the subscribe button is up here somewhere. Thank you again, and I look forward to seeing you next week.